Hello and welcome back to the basics of computer science and information systems. We will continue in this module 3 with the types of information systems, and in this video we'll be looking basically to two more types of information systems, which is the e-commerce and the m-commerce. The e-commerce, which is the electronic commerce information system, is simply a sort of activity of electronically buying or selling products online or services. So when you're, purchasing things online, or you want to do things over the internet without having to do it in the traditional way, which is, for example, if we, want to place an order. Normally, you prepare that on a paper, you go to your manager to approve the order or the requisition, as we call it, and that requisition is sent to the processing department, which then sends it to the vendor before the vendor can act on it. Now, this is a traditional way of doing that. Now, with an e-commerce way, it's more automated, which means you use a computer. Companies like the vendors just display their items on the internet or a website, and you can easily access that. Then you can simply look at the prices, look at which one you want. For example, if you want to buy a pair of shoes or a set of computers or a set of items, you just know this is what I want. You go to that particular site, you order it based on what you know should be done. Now that order is automatically sent to your processing department as well as the vendor, and um, meaning that you don't have to walk to your manager to get all the approval. That is done automatically via some automated systems passing information, and once that is approved, the vendor automatically starts preparing for that item and then ships it to you, which also follows some other information system type to get to you. And that's basically what e-commerce is about. So if we go further, there are different types of e-commerce. Now this can be between company and another company, which is called business to business. For example, General Electric or ASML. This company sell to another company, and another company is the end user. So there's always the seller and there's always the end user. And here there's another one, which means if you have a company, but instead of selling to another company as end user, you sell to a consumer, like an individual or a group of people who are not really a business organization themselves. And this is called B2C, business to consumer, because the business represents company and the consumer represents individuals, which are not big companies on their own. Example is Coca-Cola. So you can walk. Coca-Cola is made by Coca-Cola company and is distributed, and people like us can go to a shop and just get one, right? Or Netflix, or Apple computers or something like that. And there's also consumer to business, which means there are people who, organizations or company can contact and use their services. For example, freelancers or bloggers, these are consumers, but they can help advertise competencies a way that they can provide people for company to use for what they want to do. And then there's also consumer to consumer, in this case, which is end user to end user. An example is eBay. And there's also other ones like government to government, government to business, government to consumer. Thing is that you consider the government as a separate entity, not necessarily a business and not necessarily a consumer in itself, but interact with all this. So basically you have this four here, which is business to business, business to consumer, consumer to consumer, and consumer to business. But then you can also have the other ones here based if you bring in the government part of it. So, and these are all e-commerce kind of information system being used to make sure that all these types of interaction and relationship go on in a way that is profitable for everyone. So the next thing is the mobile commerce or m-commerce. Now it's basically the same thing as the e-commerce, except that instead of doing it on your desktop, you can basically do it through a wireless technology on your phone. So when you take up your phone and you do the same thing as ordering a book, a shirt, or doing any business transaction on your mobile, that is what is considered a mobile commerce. And of course has its own set of information system. And actually some people consider the m-commerce as the new e-commerce, so you can move around and still do business instead of sticking around in your house with a computer and doing it, and of course a lot of buying and selling of goods, and a lot of people do compare them, but basically they're the same, just the platforms on which you do that. And to give you some example, it's like mobile banking on your phone instead of on a computer or on a website. You can also do mobile shopping while walking or going somewhere. You order something, stop by a coffee shop and just order something online. You can also pay for these things online or make a transfer using your mobile banking, or also make an advert by, using your mobile phone. And these are the types of m-commerce as we just explained. And GPS tracking by your mobile, stock market checking, and participation, and also downloading games and videos and characters. Those are also can be done on a mobile, and these are examples of information systems that are related to m-commerce. Okay, and based on that we come to the end of module 3, which is types of information system. So we talked about computer-based, business-based, business information system, and the different types. And so you can do more research based on all the information you have on the slides or video, and you can search for more things, to read more, to broaden your knowledge in this. But at least this gives you some basic information to start with, which is the whole idea of this course. And when you look for these things, I tend to put the word PDF or the suffix PDF at the end so that I can get documents or information in PDFs that I can read. Or you can also go to YouTube, and also look up for those things, and you can probably get videos on them as well. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next module.